great, incredible 4 days in New York City, Madison Square Garden. My only regret is that as soon as you win it all, you're like, you got to do this and you got to do this, and I just didn't stop and look. Because I don't look up at all. I have I don't look, I hear it, but it's probably muffled. But I wish I would have just stopped and turned around and just looked at all the Michigan fans, that how we filled up the place, and people were so happy for this team and our university. So this week has been really what I expected it to be. It's been a good week of getting rest, but also getting back down to basics. If you've heard any of my comments, we're doing things you do in October, you do in November. And just keeping our body as tuned as we can. We're going to have a nice scrimmage today. You guys will be able to see some of that. And it should be a good developmental day. We're going to take tomorrow off. I'm going to go see my son's team play at Lemoyne at 5 o'clock against one of my best friends in coaching, Herb McGee. So that's going to be that I'll have to do what my wife's done for years. And then we'll be back Sunday for what's almost going to be like an individual practice. It's going to be skill development, shooting, everything. We're not going to do many team things, but we are going to go hard. Selection Sunday, and then we figure out what's next. So just really appreciative to be able to do this. To be able to win that championship like that, especially when I think last year we came in with, I think we got to win some games to be in the NCAA tournament. We had a plane crash. We had everything. This time, I think you all probably understand, we were probably a lock when we went in, and then to still play that way is really a great thing to see.
Ethan, you want to start us off?
Now a few weeks into this extended break, have you been pleased with the intensity or the tempo of practices? We've
only had 2, so but it was, yesterday was a little chippy, actually. We had the first and the second team going at it. We're going to do it again today. Got a little chippy a few times, so I like that. So we and I think that our defense is growing so much it's frustrating our own offense. So that's a good sign too.
Andrew?
Coach, I asked you on Sunday if you're going to look at bracketology to see opponents, and you said no. I'm just wondering now, 5 days later, if you've been tempted to look for where you might be going.
Luke started the process, but you're like looking at the difference between let's say 1 and 5. Let's say those 20 teams, and the difference between what would it be, like 11 and 14. We'd have to be really lucky to study somebody. I don't want to play any of them that are in that area. I don't want to play any of them. I know how good the Vermonts and the Bucknells and all these people are, and I don't want to play any of them. But we're going to have to play somebody.
That's fine. No, that's fine.
Chris? Was that you had a follow-up?
No, I did not.
Not today.
Isaiah, what's his status?
Oh, he's good.
Okay.
He's really good.
100%.
Yeah, he was able to come back because it was the same ankle and the same thing. Usually there's this initial pain, but then because he's done so much therapy on it, but we held him out the first day back. We held him out a little bit, but he was full go yesterday.
And then with this week, have you watched any basketball at all, since it's a little bit different now? Have you seen Val and those guys?
No, I clicked on it this morning because it was that late game last night, and I clicked on it this morning to see how they won. So I was really happy for Val because it's really just a tremendous win. They just lost to Seton Hall in a close one, and now to end up beating them there in the Garden, being the Final Four of any tournament. But as we found out, at Madison Square Garden is really Friday night in Madison Square Garden. We only got to go there once at West Virginia in those 5 years, but it's really special. So I'm glad you'll be able to experience that, and I think they're safely in after that win last night.
And did you see the Empire State Building lit up?
I did see it. There were some fans outside, and actually President Schlissel sent me a picture of it too. He was able to make it down for the championship game, and really pleased. I know that he understands how many people we have in Michigan that love Michigan athletics, love Michigan basketball, that were present at that game.
I guess first, just to clarify, you would call it a sprain with Isaiah, the same
yeah,
sprain?
Yeah, it was just, he tweaked the same ankle. Yeah.
Okay. And then also, I think 6 weeks ago, the team was kind of waffling, struggling against Minnesota, losing at Northwestern. What do you think the team has done differently to not lose since?
I mean, it's a long season. It's a long season, and you're just going to have those ups and downs. That's what it is. And what you have to just do is just keep coaching through it. And any team doesn't have ups and downs, watch out, because you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have a quick down in March. So it's all part of the process, and I can't, if hopefully this is a sign of all our teams, we grow throughout the year, and you just get better. You get better, and sometimes there's a loss that you're handed that realizes, boy, that one play was, these little plays that the coaching staff is talking about are really significant when it comes down to a last-second game. And that was demonstrated in the Minnesota game, where it could have went the other way.
Do you feel? I mean, did you notice them get it after maybe the Northwestern game?
You're asking a very difficult question.
Okay.
There's going to be no time that we said, we're there.
Okay.
Because it could drop off, you could come up and just lay an egg. And well, I thought we had it. No, we just laid an egg. It's part of it. There's so many variables involved in a game. A shot going in and out. I mean, I thought Michigan State got some great shots against us, and they just didn't make them. And everybody's talking about our defense. I wasn't talking about our defense. I said, how could Jaren Jackson get that open yesterday? He missed a shot. Everybody thinks all of a sudden we get this great defense. No, they missed shots. Cassius Winston, one out of bounds play, we were asleep in the out of bounds play. Absolutely asleep. And he's sitting there looking at a shot he's making 50% of the time. He misses it. Oh, we're playing great defense. Now, we got a lot of work to do.
Thanks.
John?
Is Xavier maybe as confident as he's been since he's been here? And if that's the case, how does that
Well, I think that's just natural that it's been 2 years now, and he came in and got this new coaching staff, and he's following Derek Walton, who is such a premier player. And I think as he's gone through the year, he started to really understand what winning basketball in college looks like. Just like I'm sure that our guys in the NBA start to understand what winning basketball looks like in the pros. And as he sees that, he's growing in it every day. So I think he's always pretty confident. If you ever watched him last year, whenever I looked at the bench, he'd be like, am I going in? Am I going in? And no, he wasn't going in. So now he'd do the same thing, but he's always had a great deal of confidence.
Coach, I'm Brad Evans with Hometown Life Newspapers. I'm
Hello,
working
Brad.
on
Welcome.
thank you. Working on a story on two of your walk-ons from local players,
Yeah.
Najee and CJ. What
Yeah.
have they brought to your program this year? And I know they're new to your program.
They're great.
They're practice players. Just talk
Yeah.
about each
No,
one.
they are really, we have what we call the Fab Five, and that's the five guys, and no disrespect to our famous Fab Five, but it's I put it that they are the guys that do a lot of demonstration that when we dummy against certain things, they know it, and we just go against it. Now, Brent's been injured, so he hasn't been able to do it, but they are a part of that. See, both of those guys have just, first of all, their teammates love them, and they love it even though they know they're not going into a game unless we're way ahead. And they've been just a really welcome addition to the team. They have great attitudes. There's no maintenance off the court. And people don't believe it. Those guys are significant in any success a team has. Or they could also be the demise of a team if they don't have the right attitude, or they can't remember plays, or they're not giving it their all on defense. So these guys have been everything you could ask for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
James?
John, going back to Zach's question about the growth, I mean, have you had a team that's maybe grown this fast? I mean, look back 2 months, you guys went unranked, and 2 months.
It's hard to put it's a great question, all right? But you're asking me to compare things. This one has grown really well. This one really has developed. But I think we've had some other teams here, and I know I've had some other teams at times that it was like, but they were okay. I remember the team that won the NIT at West Virginia. I had a great player at former great player at West Virginia tell me when we beat Mount St. Mary's in the first game, he thought it was the only game we were going to win all year, and we won 27. Deshaun Butler went to the line, made it 1-1. We beat Mount St. Mary's by 1 or 2 or 3. And he told me after we there was a young team that won the NIT. He said, I seriously thought it was the only game we were going to win all year. So teams grow. That's what us coaches all over the country are doing, and I appreciate you guys see that. But it's tough for me to say compare that to another team. This one, I love this team's growth, and some teams I haven't loved their growth. This one I do. But last year's too. Last year's made it after that Ohio State game. Somebody look at that record. Look at our record since after the Ohio State game last year. And I haven't looked at it, but I'm sure it's really, really good. But go ahead, James.
And then last week you kept talking about the team. How
Yep.
much does it help, like a trickle-down effect, when you have a captain like Muhammad, who obviously cares more about team success than his own?
Yeah, he is you know, I had mixed emotions, and we're not into the most outstanding player, but he was just as important as Mo in that game, and I know they can only pick one of them. But he has just answered the bell on so many big shots, so many big stops that you don't understand, so many big foul shots, you know, none bigger than that Maryland game here. So, no, he's everything we could ask for. I've told him sincerely, and I think I mentioned it, I told him, Mohammed, you're playing as good as any guard that's played here. Just keep doing what you're doing, hunt, right, make good decisions. But his stats are gaudy right now, and but no, I don't think anybody understands what a great defender he is, too.
Nick?
John, I know you said you guys only practiced twice this week so far, right?
We practiced, we practiced, so Monday was off. We practiced Tuesday, we took Wednesday off. We practiced yesterday, we're practicing again today.
Did you have them do anything specifically to get away from basketball? Did you guys do anything different this
No,
week?
you know, it would have been perfect if we were in spring break, but they needed probably to get away from each other and just, you know, just be a student. We were back, they had study hall. We tell them not to come to the gym, but they come for rehab anyhow. They didn't tell them not to pick up a ball. I don't think anybody did. But there was not, you know, if there had been a break, there had been different. But yesterday you could see there's something about, and I've mentioned this before, after a day or two off, I was advised don't take 2 days off by our performance team because it would just throw off their bodies so much. So we took a day off, but then we went hard yesterday. We were on the floor for 2 hours and 15 minutes yesterday. I'm not a big believer in you got to cut it way back at this time of the year. I'm a big believer in let's keep getting better, and we have those. The catapult system tells me exactly what we can do.
And then New York, the only guy that really didn't find a rhythm at any point was Jordan. His shot just did
Yep.
not fall. I mean, was there something that was just one of those things where it didn't go? Or
It's hopefully something that will work itself out, but right now it's probably just like it's been with his confidence, right? And then with him, because he can get his own shot, taking the right shot. And I see little areas of growth right now with things with him. And then he'll take steps backwards, but the guy, he has a brilliant future, and usually the guys that have that when I put that on them, it means they got a little extra, they've got a little stuff that probably makes them look out of control sometimes, but it also is a great confidence too. So he's going to come in, and I would be surprised if he comes in and goes in and gets 9 straight points in some game in the NCAA tournament.
You want him to keep shooting?
Oh yes, absolutely, yeah. I did notice, Nick, that we took him on the arc machine over there, and his arc was really low. He had a bad shooting day as far as our drills would go, and we went over, and he was like at a 42 or 43, so I think he understands his arc needs to be at a 47, 48. And I can bring you guys over there anytime, and you can shoot on it, and you can see where you guys are, too.
Coach, you mentioned after Sunday's game that you'd been through layoffs like this at Canisius and Richmond. In 1998, your Richmond team actually beat South Carolina in the first round. I'm wondering what you remember, if anything, about that team or that game.
They were the game was in Washington D.C. and we just really played well from the beginning. Through like an alley-oop lob to start the game, and Eddie Fogler had a great team in South Carolina. And we had a kid named Jerron Stevenson played absolutely tremendous, and but. At the end, the ball was in B.J. Mackey's hand. Gerard got fouled on a call that could have gone either way, and we went up by 1. And B.J. Mackey took the ball and went down the left lane and put it up, and it just rolled off the rim. Darrell Oliver boxed out Ryan Stack. We got the ball. Game was over, and it was a great win And Richmond had done that quite often, even under Dick Tarrant. They upset those big teams, and it was a great moment.
Brennan?
Having the chance to see these guys actually practice today, I wonder if there's anything in particular that they do well in practice that could speak to the trajectory of this season.
Yes, we do get after it on defense. Mo yesterday was exceptional. He wanted to win the game so badly, and it ended up being, I think it was a tie at the end. They do get after it on defense, and they are very accountable to each other. And have a lot of pride in winning games, in these little games that we play. So yesterday, like I said, it was chippy. I did not expect that, but we challenged the blue 1 against the blue 2, and I liked how we went after it. I'm in between right now, when 5 guys dove on the ball. I said, you know, let's all get up. Okay, we don't want somebody, you know, stepping on somebody's hand or something like that. But at the same time, that has been really good. That they're not look. I'm sure they all look at the clock, but it doesn't seem that way. That they are really just trying to get the best they can in whatever particular drills we're doing.
And you talk about going back to basics like you would in October this week. In the teams that you've coached here, are there varying levels of how guys embrace that type of stuff? You know, working on pivots and things like that. And what's this team like in that regard?
I don't think anyone by the end of the year is saying, I don't need to do this, because we show them video after video of when they didn't do it and with the result, and when they did do it, what was the result. So they all sort of buy into, these are little things, and it's all they are, it's the things that probably a guy like LeBron never thought about. He just does naturally. So I watch that stuff, and these guys that are pros, well, they do it this way, and my guy's not. Let's teach them that way, and over time they do it. They're just naturally balanced. They're naturally just great with getting rotation on the ball. And so all these things that we're teaching, they know it's coming. I mean, they know that they get a rebound with one hand and lose it, there's hell to pay. Or they catch the ball with one hand and lose it. Or if they're not shooting well because they're up on their toes, or they're catching it with one hand, that there's a reason behind it. So they buy in.
We're going to close out with Chris and then Windsor.
Matt Painter said, I think that you guys didn't really run your regular offense, you really just spread them out and went. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, the 30-second shot clock we have everything in. It depends on how people are going to play us. But the fact that the 30-second shot clock has changed some of my philosophy, and that also the switching of screens, we made a drastic change back during the earlier in the year. I'm not going to say when it is so that people can just look at it, but we made a change gradually over time, trying to play our offense better suited to the personnel on this team and better suited for how we're going to be guarded in the Big Ten. And at times it's worked really well, sometimes it didn't, but we continue to have that in our package, yet we got, the kids are amazing with how much they know and what they can do just out of a timeout.
Sean?
John, you used the word chippy a couple of times today. I'm curious, is that a conscious effort to foster something, or is this the DNA of these
I think a great question. I think it's both. I think I went with my assistants before we went on the floor. So I don't want anybody smiling today. Or we're not smiling today. We're not satisfied where we are. And let's make sure we go out there and we're just as demanding. I think a guy was running the top of Chrysler within 10 minutes of practice. We want to make sure that they have that. And I think maybe they took that persona on once practice started, because they knew, you know, there is a strong possibility that the losing teams were going to pay a little extra. And it'll be the same way. I don't know if it'll be the same way today, because we're trying to be really efficient, and because we're going to have 6 on each team with minimal subs. I'm not looking to. I'm looking over a 2-day period what we could get done with our cardio and our skill level, not just one day. So, but it's intentional, I think, by our staff that all right, we're back into it right now. Congratulations on the championship. But we're not going to ever look at this thing and say we're satisfied and we made the tournament and now it's all good. No, it's not all good. It's only good if we play at our best, and the only way we beat our best if we really attack practice. Red Berenson's whole idea, you know, practice like you're in second place and play like a champion. Play your games like you're a champion. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to practice like we're not very good, so that we can play like a champion.